great to live the life you have imagined. Good day to you. I've got some treats for you today. We'd love to live the life we have imagined, wouldn't we? Sometimes we need some direction to achieve that. Well, the direction I'm listening to today and reading about and studying on Saturday, which is the Sabbath for me, the day of rest and reflection, is Ecclesiastes. It's a wonderful book if you've at all been tempted in your life to become a bit cynical. It's written by somebody who's mature in years, has been there, done it, got the t-shirt and the bruises, has survived and gone, do you know what? Life is Hevel. Hevel is how we would transliterate the Hebrew. Quite often it's translated as vanity, but it's not smoke. It's this stuff you just can't, vapor, you can't get your hand around. So if we can't understand life in its fullness, what should our response be? What should our response be if we want to live the life we have imagined? And he's been reflecting on this for so long, he's become a bit like a grumpy old man. He said, and I began to hate life. The labour that was done under the sun was contemptible to me. For all of this was vanity, this hevel, this vapour, and chasing the wind. And I despised all the toil in which I laboured under the sun, which I will give up to the man who comes after me. So he's worked hard, he's built things, he's planted vineyards, he's done amazing things, and he's thinking, what happens if the person who comes after me, who inherits it, doesn't appreciate it? And who knows if this man will be wise or a fool? Yet he will gain power over every labour that I have toiled, and my use of wisdom under the sun. Also, this is Hevel, this smoke, this vapour, this vanity. So I turned to give my heart up to despair concerning all the toil of my labours under the sun. He's in a pretty bad place, isn't he? It's just like, oh, this was a complete waste of time. For there is a man who labours with wisdom, knowledge and skill, yet to a man who did not labour for this, he leaves it as his inheritance. This also is vanity, Hevel, smoke, vapour, and a great distress. I can understand his pain. For what becomes of a man with all his labour, and with the striving in his heart that he toils under the sun? For all his days are sorrow. All his days are sorrowful, and his work is a vexation. This is powerful, bitter stuff, isn't it? Even at night, his heart finds no rest. So if you're going through that period, I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, because this is my life at the moment. You go, wow, what is it all about? And even at night, your brain's going dig, 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 trying to make sense of it. Also, this is fleeting. There is nothing, so here's his conclusion at this part of the book. There is nothing better for a man or a woman to eat and drink and to find enjoyment in their labour. So when life is hevel, is vapour, is smoke, is transitory, subject to change, transient, there is nothing better than to enjoy today. Enjoy today to the full. Be grateful for the things that you can enjoy, but also to start to seek to labour in something that you enjoy. I deal with so many people who are watching the clock, looking for the time when they can leave the place where they are working. That is evil. That's wrong. Your life and my life is so short, a vapour, a smoke, that we really should be seeking to live life on purpose. We should become the heroes that we could be. Abraham Maslow said something like, whatever a person can be, they must be. There's this driver, this hunger, this thirstiness to become what we could be. So we think this is Solomon. He says, there's nothing better for a man or a woman to eat and drink and find enjoyment in their labour. This also I saw is from the hand of God, and that means it's the gift of God. To enjoy your work and to enjoy each day. For who can even eat or have the enjoyment more so than I? In other words, he's put this to the test as the king of Israel, the best, most successful king ever. He really had the opportunity to live life to the full in all measures. To a man who is pleasing before him, God gives wisdom, knowledge and joy. What a gift. And to the sinner, he gives the work of gathering and collecting to give to him who is pleasing before God. The conclusion is always going to be, it's better to be a good person, a wise person, to be a giver, to alleviate the suffering of others. But All this is vanity and chasing the wind. It's all impermanent. Japanese have a wonderful concept for this. Wabi-sabi, the idea of impermanence. And when a pot breaks, maybe you'll fix that pot with lacquer and gold to make it even more beautiful, because it's impermanent. And I know that in computer music, we often use humanizing factors, putting little errors in to make the music sound more human, more impermanent, more imperfect. Here's the big encouragement for you today. One of the most famous passages of all time, which was turned into a song. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season. A time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. And it's easy to reason and go, yeah, whatever. But this is profound stuff. There is a time to die. There is a time to be born. We've just celebrated my niece's 18th birthday. It was just, wow, where did that time go? But there was a time for her to be born. There's a time for her to celebrate her 18th. And her time will come in due season as well. I think we'll probably beat her to it. But there is a time for all these seasons in our lives. A time to plant. And a time to uproot what is planted. You might be planted somewhere at the moment where it's time for you to uproot and go somewhere else. A time to kill and a time to heal. Those of us who are entrepreneurs or aspiring to be entrepreneurs, sometimes there's a time to kill a business and a time to heal a business, a time to break down and a time to build up. Sometimes you just got to go, do you know what? It's not the season for that product, that service, that business. It's time to move on. A time to weep. It's okay to grieve and to weep. It's fully appropriate in its season. In fact, I would say it's the right thing, isn't it? There's a time to weep and a time to laugh. There's a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to gain and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. It's an interesting one in today's age of keeping so much stuff, isn't it? There is a time to keep and there is a time to declutter. There's a time to cast away. That can be friendships as well. Sometimes friendships. I was on a social media course yesterday and I was talking about unfollowing those who don't bother to follow you once you followed them. But actually there is a time to keep connected and there's a time to cast away. There's a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. It's pretty profound stuff, isn't it? Sometimes it's right to go to war and sometimes it's right to pursue peace. What benefit does the worker have in his toil? I have seen the task that God has given to sons of men to be concerned with. He has made everything beautiful in its appropriate time. He's also put obscurity in their hearts so that no one comes to know the work that God has done from the beginning to the end. We've got like eternity in our hearts. We kind of understand the bigger picture in just a sense of its vastness, but we don't get it. I experience that there is nothing better for them than to be glad and do good in their life. There you go. There's the way to live the life we have imagined. Be glad today and do good in your life. And also that everyone should eat and drink and experience good in all their labour. You're supposed to do a job that rewards you in itself, not just the output of it, not just the salary. You should experience good in all our labour. This is a gift of God. I have perceived that everything that God has done will be lasting, and to this there is nothing to be added, and from it there is nothing to be taken away. And God has done this so that in his presence men fear him. That which has already been, and that which is to come, has also been already, and God seeks out what has been driven away. And he goes into the whole thing about injustice, but I want to come across the conclusion here to chapter 3. So I saw that there is nothing better than that a man or a woman should rejoice in his labour or her labour, for that is their reward. For who will bring him or her to see what will happen after in this life? I'll leave that there today to reflect on. You're in a season at the moment, and if you're not happy and your heart is not glad and you're not enjoying your work, you're doing the wrong thing for the season that you're in. So look to change, look to break down, look to build up, look to tear, look to sow, look to shift something in your experience so that you can enjoy your work. So you're not going, oh, is it nearly time to clock off? And make sure you enjoy every small thing today. This is the gift of God. And whether you believe in God or not, I would that you believed in God, but whether you do or not, it's a good recipe to be grateful for all the small things in life and to enjoy what you do as work and to do good. Watched the news yesterday, the Amazon is burning. As 20% of the oxygen of the world comes from that great carbon cleansing pump of the Amazon. You know, we're all in this together. We need to do good and transform our own future by doing good, by enjoying our work, and by being grateful for the small things and the big things in our lives. Have a great Saturday. And live the life you have imagined.